Yeah. Welcome, everyone. My name is Christine Baugh. I'm the director of the Bioethics and Humanities and Health Graduate Certificate Program on the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus. Thank you for coming today to learn a little bit more about the certificate program, to meet some of our wonderful faculty and staff who are part of the program. I hope today we're able to answer all of your questions and give you a real sense of the program, who we are, what we're about. And also be mindful of your time and keep this program rolling right along. So just a quick big picture vision of the program. The graduate certificate program at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus aims to equip you with practical and critical approaches that blend ethics and humanistic insights. What does that really mean? It means things like learning to recognize challenges in your daily work. It means understanding diverse perspectives on health, illness, well-being. It means discovering new ways to address burnout, moral distress, and ethical challenges that come up. It means deepening your understanding of health equity, public health, social justice, health law. We really hope that this program offers a wide variety of learners, many different kinds of opportunities to gain skills that are relevant to a variety of different kinds of clinical research, public health, and other practices. A lot of our learners touch different kinds of clinical populations, touch different research areas, engage with different kinds of health professions. And we're really grateful for all of their diverse perspectives. Joining the program looks like learning alongside clinicians and healthcare professionals. That's probably not a big surprise, but also people who are part of our clinical ambassadors program, people who do research for a living, whether that's laboratory or clinical research. We have folks who are policymakers, legal professionals, healthcare administrators, folks who are much more on the policy and practice side of things. People who are directing educational programs at other universities or across our campus, teaching learners of their own. A lot of public health professionals, social workers, and mental health professionals. We have physical therapy students and practitioners. We have students who are on the Anschutz campus and other campuses that are preparing themselves for a variety of health professional applications, whether that's medical school, dental school, nursing school, etc. Health communications specialists, community health workers, and advocates. So really a wide variety of learners. And I think this is a true strength of the program. In addition to our wonderful faculty, we have students who provide such an array of perspectives that really contribute to the breadth, depth, and intrigue of a lot of these courses. I'll also say one of our favorite statistics of this program is we have learners from all decades of life, from 20s to 80s. And again, just another way in which we offer a variety of perspectives and it strengthens the program, the coursework, and the experience. Another thing we're really passionate about is meeting people where they are in their learning process. Some people jump in enthusiastically and want to get a full graduate certificate in bioethics and health humanities, and we are here for you. That is what we do. But if you have one course you're interested in, we have a variety, right? If you have one course you're interested in, we're here for that as well. We're here to be a dip the toe in the water and try out bioethics for the first time or the health humanities for the first time program. And so, wherever you are, either at the one class or the full certificate program, we may be the right fit for you. If you are looking to take the full certificate, the way that our program is organized is quite flexible. We have one required course. It's offered in the spring, the Foundations of Bioethics and Humanities and Health. It's a wonderful course. It is finishing up in the next week or two. Dr. Chelsea Patton, you'll hear from, has been teaching that course along with Dr. Mark Kissler. We also offer a variety of formats to fit people's lives. So that's in-person classes, synchronous, asynchronous, remote classes. And our instructors, we give the flexibility to make sure they pick the modality that makes the course as strong as it possibly can be while meeting the learners where they are with their other potential obligations. We have, as you'll learn of very soon, leading faculty with a huge array of expertise. They really come into this program very passionate about their coursework, very passionate about the experience of our learners, and provide such a breadth and depth of expertise in the topic that they choose to teach to our students, which we're immensely grateful for. Um, in the fall, this coming fall, we have 9 one-credit course opportunities and 1 2-credit course opportunity. You'll be hearing about, I believe, all of those momentarily. So we have our instructors for those courses online, ready to tell us all about each and every one of those courses. But before we do that, we just wanted to get a sense of who is in the room with us today. So the illustrious Rosa Lawrence is going to pull up a couple poll questions just so we can see who's here with us and learn a little bit more about you, your interest in the program, and how you heard about us today. So there we go. First question. What is, or which best describes your level of interest in the certificate program? As you get through these, you'll just kind of click through at your own current pace. We would appreciate answers, but obviously will not require answers from folks. Learning more about whether you're on the Anschutz campus or elsewhere, what you currently do, student, faculty, staff, clinician, researcher. We know that that can be everybody kind of wears multiple hats, but pick the one that fits you the best. Which of our topics you're primarily interested in? I know that's a hard one. They're all so wonderful. And then how you heard about us. So just giving folks a few moments to let us know who you are. Folks who may be just joining, we're doing a few poll questions to get a sense of who's in the room. I'll give folks another minute or so, just trying to learn more about who's with us today.
Looks like responses have tapered off, so we're probably good.
Perfect. Do you want to end that, Rosa? Do we want to share results with folks just so we can all learn a little bit about each other for a moment? I'm actually not sure what other people are seeing. I only know what I'm seeing, but I
Are
assume
you all seeing that?
seeing something that shows the results of the 5 questions. So we have
Yes.
a variety of statuses with the program. Some folks who are currently enrolled, some who are really serious about enrolling, thinking about enrolling, or just kind of want to learn more. Love that. We're here for all of those options. A variety of folks in terms of affiliation with Anschutz Medical Campus. We love that too. Obviously, we know and love our campus affiliates, but this program is bigger than our campus, and so we love to see folks who are beyond campus as well. Look at this variety of folks who are students, staff, faculty, clinicians, researchers, a little bit of everything. We love to see that. That represents our kind of cadre, our population, quite well. And again, who can choose? Split across all of those topics: clinical ethics, public health, health humanities. And a lot of you heard about us from Center for Bioethics email, which is wonderful, but also some other places too. Okay. I will stop sharing this and let's move to our next item on the agenda, which is we'll get to hear from each of the faculty who are on the Zoom about their course offerings that are coming up in the summer and fall semesters. Um, I think what I'll do is I will kick it off to the first person, and then as you finish, maybe I won't introduce each individual. You can kind of introduce yourself on the slides. So, Rosa, do you want to advance one? Matt Winia, I will introduce just briefly. He is, in addition to teaching this course for the Bioethics and Humanities and Health Certificate Program, the director of the Center for Bioethics and Humanities. So he knows a thing or two about the topic. We are really grateful to have him teaching this course this summer. So if you have yet to sign up for anything in the summer, great opportunity to do so. Matt, I'll kick it over to you to talk about your
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Um, so I'll just say I've really enjoyed this course because it is not a typical RCR course. For those of you who do human subjects research, you know that there are required elements of a responsible conduct of research course that everyone with human subjects research experience has to take. And we were asked a couple of years ago because our graduate school has students who do not intend to do human subjects research. And so that meaning, by the way, human subjects research meaning research on human beings. And if you're not doing research on human beings, by and large, you don't have to take that responsible conduct of research course. But when those students graduated, they would go out into the job market, and apparently were told it's helpful if you've taken a responsible conduct of research or a research ethics course. And so they said, you could teach this course, but you're not constrained by hitting literally everything that you have to hit in the RCR course. And what that allows us to do is really talk about the aspects of research, both with human subjects and not with human subjects, that are the most interesting and contentious and controversial. So we actually dig into issues here where, for lack of a better way of putting it, there's not one simple answer. The kinds of things that are not going to end up on a multiple choice exam, for your boards. These are issues that are legitimately difficult. And so it's a one month class. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays for about an hour and a half. We get people from across the university and beyond to come in and speak with the students, and it's a lot of fun. I'll stop there.
I guess I'll take it from here. My name's Jonna Morales, and with my partner in crime, Chelsea Patton, who's the director of clinical ethics, we work at the Center for Bioethics and Humanities and are also consultants at UC Health. One of the fun things we get to do in our job is host ethics grain rounds, which maybe some of you have attended in the past. But what we found is that we have these really great speakers on topics, and they're not widely made available after the event occurs. And so what we've done is we've created three different one credit courses that are intended to be asynchronous, meaning you do this in your own time. There's not really going to be any in-person discussion or meeting time scheduled with the class. But we have these three different topics with a variety of different ethics grand rounds that you'll watch, do readings for, and engage in a discussion board for. So for any of you, that 50% who are interested in clinical ethics, or perhaps one of these topics might hit at something you're more interested in, this is ideally going to be a really manageable course with your schedule, whatever's going to work best for your life, and also give you that exposure to these topics and ability to engage with others in the class and with us as well as in terms of these topics. So the first one that we're offering is focused on kind of the bread and butter of a lot of our ethics consults, which is autonomy and ethical risk. And then could we go to the next one too? Just because we have three, I'll kind of fly through them. But the next one is culture and ethics in care, which is one Chelsea and I are especially passionate about, but looking at diverse populations, vulnerable patients as well. Next. And then finally, community health ethics. So this is more equity, stigma, systemic focused, which kind of branches a little farther out from those clinical topics of the other two. But we're really excited for these courses. We're excited for the engagement we're going to be able to have in discussion boards about these EGRs, the ethics grand rounds, and about the readings as well. Chelsea, do you have anything to add to that?
Think that was a wonderful overview. One thing I'll add is these are asynchronous, as Jonna said, but both Jonna and I are typically very available. So if there's ever a desire to have further discussion on any of these topics while you're taking the course or afterwards, we're always happy to grab coffee, hop on a Zoom call, things like that. So it doesn't have to end at the course.
Hi, this is Sarah Mia. Uh, I am the chair of radiology over at Children's Hospital Colorado, and I am excited to partner with Kathy Flights. And I saw Kathy on it. Kathy, are you able to unmute and say hello?
I am. I just would be quicker on the draw. So thank you.
Um, Kathy and I are really excited to partner to teach the Art of Observation course this fall. We have a great course planned. Really, this centers around the concepts around visual thinking strategies, which is a way of looking at a piece of art and also facilitating a conversation around looking at art. But more generalizable, these conversations and the way we approach looking at art through visual thinking strategies is a way to non-judgmentally listen, share, incorporate, and reflect around using a piece of art as an example. So you can really take these facilitation skills and utilize them in other conversations. I am a certified visual thinking strategies facilitator, and this course I think is going to be fantastic for people who like to look at art, for people who are scared to look at art, and no past history of looking at art or being a facilitator. I think you have to come with an open mind and want to potentially partner and learn facilitation skills and be open to sharing and growth together. We're very excited to also offer, and where it'll be a Mondays 5:30 to 7 course. We're going to be, of course, skipping Labor Day, but we will also be offering an optional in-person experience on a Tuesday night at the Denver Art Museum as a kind of final meeting if folks would be interested in joining us. So we're really excited about this opportunity. It's been shown to increase empathy, improve communication skills, and increase overall tolerance of ambiguity. So I kind of feel like these are core skills for humans, but certainly in my field as a health professional, I think that they're quite important. And for my role as a leader, I think it's also important to really open up a space of psychological safety and non-judgmental listening. Kathy, do you want to add your reflections on this course?
Yes, again, this has been something that I've worked in for about a decade now. And it really started more with wanting to be a better teacher and really trying to engage students to be able to interpret actually pretty complex topics, especially in oral pathology. So again, to be able to look at some patients and oral diseases almost as pieces of art and step back and reflect and not just jump to a conclusion is also one of the goals. And so I have a lot of fun working with Sarah on something like this because, again, I just love teaching and always looking at ways for better retention and understanding and communication, but then also really learning more about skill sets such as being able to interpret even an emotional aspect of what you're actually seeing too.
Dr. Amy Martin was unable to join us tonight, so I will do my very best to enthusiastically present on her behalf. She is the Vice President in Clinical and Organizational Ethics at Indiana University Health. We are really lucky to have her on the teaching cadre. She will be bringing on a clinical ethics case consultation course that is running a pretty short duration, so meets twice a week for basically 2-ish weeks, 2-3 weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays, first thing in the fall. So it will be pretty quickly done, and she hopes that you can build from the foundations course. So this is a requested prerequisite of having already taken the foundations course this past spring. If you have concerns or questions about that, you can feel free to reach out if you're feeling very enthusiastic about this particular course but weren't yet able to take foundations. Feel free to reach out either to me or Lori, but that is the goal. And you're basically going to be acting as a ethics consultant. You're going to learn about how the principles of bioethics are used in case consultation, how information is gathered during a consult, methods that are used during the consult process, and how to write a chart note in an electronic medical record for a consult. So again, for the proportion of you who are especially interested in clinical ethics, this would be a great option coming up first thing in the fall.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Watson. I'm a clinical ethicist at the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm honored to be on the slate for this fall to talk about the ethics of health communication. I had the privileged to train and work as a plain language writer for the Center for Health Literacy when I worked at University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, and I found those skills incredibly helpful for everything I do in the clinical world, from my clinical ethics consultation to teaching medical students and other health professionals. And so I'm excited to share some of that with you all in this course. The idea is this course is for anyone who shares health information with the public, whether it's patients or research participants or the public in a public health setting. We're going to start with the sort of basic challenges of health literacy, because I think that's a good way to normalize some of the obstacles and opportunities we have when communicating in healthcare settings. Then we're going to talk about some or health literacy interventions and some of the ways that those can be incorporated, but also some of the dangers of sort of taking some of those too far, and some of how they can kind of backfire in the clinical setting. But then we're going to expand on those, sort of take them into sort of broader communication strategies for handling hard communication with patients and families, facilitating family meetings, how health literacy and ethics of health communication can help make those encounters go better. We're going to talk about chart notes and how you'll have patients who come in because they have been stigmatized or felt alienated by the language that's used about them in their chart notes, and how to sort of de-escalate some of that, how to destigmatize that so that you build trust with patients in their healthcare encounter. And then finally, we're going to talk a lot about some cultural preferences regarding communication and how to navigate cultural preferences about health communication within the scope of our responsibilities to ensure adequately informed consent, to ensure that we're achieving adequate goals of care. But the idea is, wherever you work with the public, this course should have some sort of practical value for you. I hope that that's the case, and I'll be interested in chatting more if you're interested. The class is going to be remote and synchronous because I'm still going to be in Cleveland, but it's going to be on Wednesdays from 5:30 to 7:30.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Hine. I am the Clinical Ethics Program Manager at Children's Hospital Colorado. And the class that I am thinking through is called A Tale of Two Deaths, Debates in the Uniform Determination of Death. This is really a deep dive on brain death and its implications in how we practice medicine today. So while this is a maybe sounds a little bit like very specific content area, my hope is that the lessons learned will really be broadly applicable to all how we think about bioethics more generally, including issues about science, technology, epistemic authority, communication, the media. So we'll really be getting into it all, starting with Christian Barnard in 1967 and the first heart transplant, moving through Henry Beecher and the Harvard Committee, through the UDDA in the 1980s, and coming up to more current cases like Jahai McMath. And really our goal here will just to kind of be looking at the controversies and how we often, I think, attempt to find consensus even when reasonable dissent is present. And so, again, really challenging some of those structural authorities in bioethics and medicine and how we think about the role of knowers in medicine more specifically. And it will be one credit. It'll be Thursdays from 12 to 1:30, and it will be remote but synchronous.
Hi, good afternoon, evening. It's nice to be here. I'm Dr. Robin Gisbert. I've been with the physical therapy program at CU for over 20 years and a clinician for almost 35 years now. And a proud graduate of the first class of the certificate program in Bioethics and Health Humanities back in 2019. Woo woo! That was quite a good thing. And I want to take all of your courses so far. Unfortunately, I don't think that's possible. But in all my years of clinical work, working with people with chronic illness, working with people with traumatic illness, one thing became very clear to me, and that's that grief is ever present. As people are losing independence, as people are losing their identities, control, family systems, so much. So I'm delighted to offer this course coming up in the fall called Grief, Loss, and Healing. And this will combine a real clinical look, what's happening when grief strikes us, what happens in the changes in our brain. We know from research there are real changes in the brain and what's happening in the body. And lo and behold, what's happening is a lot like what happens in chronic and traumatic illness, which as a physical therapist, I'm very trained to treat and navigate. So we'll be looking at not just what happens clinically and from a neuroscience perspective, but we'll learn some body-based exercises to navigate grief. We're also going to be looking at grief because grief isn't just it's not just happening in our brains. We're feeling this in our hearts. And so we're going to use other medium as well. We're going to be using the creative lens, the cognitive lens, and really an embodied approach to hope that we can deepen our understanding and our compassion for ourselves as we navigate grief, and as all of us in healthcare are, at the very least, grief adjacent in healthcare and crossing grief throughout our lives. So be delighted to see you there. We'll have some alternating in-person sessions on campus and synchronous online sessions, and just really look forward to being in conversations about grief with you all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriella Agostero. In my full-time role, I'm the Director of Clinical Ethics at Novant Health in North Carolina. For the fall semester, I'm going to be teaching moral distress in healthcare. This is a topic that's really important to me. I think we can all agree that working in healthcare right now is not an easy task. I think with all of the advancements in technology, we encounter a lot of moral dilemmas. We encounter a lot of difficulties, regardless of kind of what discipline we're in. So this course is going to be an 8-week course. I am coming from North Carolina, so this will be an online asynchronous course. While it is asynchronous, every week I do hold 1-hour office hour sessions for any student that wants to talk a little bit more about the topic, or has any additional questions. So really what the goal of this course is to understand, recognize, and address moral distress. So in order to have moral distress, you have to have that morality component associated with it. I think all healthcare workers experience distress at some point in their career. So what we're really trying to do with this course is show how moral distress differs just from traditional distress. One of the really important things with this course, I will say too, is my goal here is to make sure that our students leave with a toolkit to address these issues that they're experiencing in their setting. One thing piggybacking off of what Christine said in the very beginning, I taught this course last fall as well, and we had such an interdisciplinary perspective in this course. We had students from the dental setting, physicians, nursing. I think we had a researcher as well. So I also learned a lot through this course, and I know that you guys will too, just from all of the different perspectives that we see. All right, thank you guys.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, I am going to assume that everybody, okay, great. I see hands up. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Nancy Sharp, and I wear a few different hats, both at the University of Colorado School of Medicine, the Center for Bioethics and Humanities, and also here at Denver Health. I first want to say that I've been involved as a longtime community member for the Center for Bioethics and the Humanities. And it's really been extremely fulfilling. I've been involved with different facets of the center over the years, from their Holocaust Genocide Contemporary Awareness Program to more general ongoing support. I also at Denver Health, I am not a clinician, as I'm sure you can see, because you're probably thinking I don't see an MD after her name or PhD. I do have a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Nonfiction. So I enter the medical world through the lens of humanities. I have the privilege of supporting the CEO of Denver Health. I also work with our medical staff. I edit a newsletter every month called Medical Matters. And among the things I get to do for that are profile different clinicians and to help tell some of their unique stories. I also teach. I teach narrative medicine here at Denver Health. And that is a little bit about what some of this work for this course excuse me, somebody's sending me a very nice note, Robin Gisbert. And hi, Robin. She said, Nancy, I love your book. Thank you so much. I will talk about this. Yes, I have written a couple different books. And it's really life experience that drew me to teach today. I absolutely love teaching narrative medicine. I feel that using my lived experience and my learned experience too in a way to serve others, to help them convey their experiences in medicine is my why. So this course, Narrative Principles and Practices in Healthcare, is going to be synchronous October 7th through November 4th, Wednesdays from 5:15 to 6:45 p.m. It was a real privilege to teach this last year. We had a really diverse group of students. We had somebody from the dental program. We had a first-year medical student. We had Sarah Mila, who is right now also chatting to everybody, who's the head of radiology at Children's Hospital. And, you know, the more diverse the group, sometimes the better, because we all have things that we can learn from one another. So what do we do in narrative principles and practices in healthcare? This is really an introductory course to help expose you to the field of narrative medicine. We're going to do a little less theory and more hands-on practical applications. We do this through close readings of literature and of essays, and we engage in a lot of conversation. And I may mix up the readings for this year just to keep things fresh, but we'll see who takes part in the workshop. And I always like to try to select readings that I think are going to be most appropriate for attendees. But we'll be doing close reading. We'll be doing writing. We'll be doing exercises, and then we're going to write at least one, but maybe even two works that can be developed into a publishable piece. So that's about it for now. And I really hope that we get a wonderful turnout this fall because it's extremely rewarding. I should just say also for this group that I am co-leading a narrative medicine workshop to Florence, Italy, and in October. And I'm doing that with the School of Medicine and with Mark Ernest, who is the head of internal medicine. And so this is really great work. So we are going to be postponing the middle of October this week, but you're going to be getting a very worldly experience. So that was the point of sharing that with you. So thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Masters. I'm a professor, an assistant professor, both in internal medicine in the School of Public Health, and I'm also not clinical. As a public health researcher, my work really focuses on mass incarceration as a public health crisis. And so that's kind of how this course came about and is really done through learning more about the criminal legal system, but also through hearing from a lot of folks with lived experience and lived expertise. So we have a lot of the sessions are really led by folks who are mostly local, who come and tell their kind of individual experience related to if it's certain health outcomes or certain experiences with different types of carceral environments, and really love, engaging with students and folks learning about the space. It's 2 credits. It's weekly, kind of through more of the standard semester, but we start a bit late to be sure there's space for folks to take some other courses that are kind of front loaded. And so with this, there's also an opportunity for folks to come in with some of the courses I teach in the Department of Corrections, so people can go into it, and we talk about what it's like to kind of go into that space more as a learner, and meet some of the guys who are incarcerated that I work with as well. And through this, we tend to have, a mix of folks similar to what others have said that are more both public health students, that's certainly my background, but also with dental students, medical students, and nurses. Oh, thank you, Chelsea. And we have folks here speak in the class as well. So Jana Morales, who I know is also teaching, and will come and talk about ethics from the perspective of someone who, consults on a lot of UC health cases where there's an incarcerated patient, and what that looks like. And then also from the perspective of folks who have been that patient from the inside as well will kind of speak. So different perspectives and different parts of the carceral system for folks, and it's relatively flexible too. So I like at the beginning for folks to say if there are specific populations of interest, like we more recently try and include more work on ICE detention and then the ICE raids, trying to keep it current with what's going on and try and be sure we can share the resources that we can. But if people are also gynecology, focusing on reproductive health inside and what that looks like, so we can kind of tailor it accordingly, since we do have most of the semester. So happy to answer questions later, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Hi, I'm Heather Straub. I'm a high-risk pregnancy specialist, so maternal fetal medicine. So you do med school, 4 years of OBGYN, then you do 3 years of MFM fellowship. And when I was finishing my last year of fellowship at the University of Chicago, I did the McLean Center Fellowship for Clinical Medical Ethics, and got me really excited about clinical medical ethics beyond just my very narrow scope of high-risk pregnancy. And so I have been back in Colorado since 2018 as an assistant and an associate professor. I've been involved in medical ethics consults in Chicago, and then I'm a medical proxy for the University of Colorado. And then I run our OBGYN residency ethics education program, and for the last several years have been doing what I call perinatal ethics grand rounds, which are open to anybody. They're usually twice a semester, or I'm sorry, twice a year. And our year runs June to July. I think that's right, or July to June. I can't remember. But anyway, so this summer I'm presenting a 6-week kind of condensed down course of some of the highlights of the reproductive ethics. So this is going to be asynchronous online. Well, it's sort of pseudo-synchronous because each week is going to be a different topic, but this is designed to be very flexible. The point is to hear about the different topics. These are almost all based on real-world clinical scenarios that I have encountered or my colleagues have encountered. And so what we'll start out with is kind of, like a very condensed version of, it sounds like you're having whole clinical ethics, very long classes, and we'll get a little, here's a very brief toolkit that you can use. And then we're talking about how some of these, kind of the 4 basic principles of ethics, and also the different kind of formats for thinking about ethics, how they are through the lens of reproductive ethics. One of the big topics we cover is the maternal-fetal dyad conflict. I'm actually presenting at the Children's Ethics Conference in 2 days on this topic, but we talk about different changes in technology and some basic understanding around abortion or termination. I think the setup, I've never taught this type of course before, so I'm very excited to have this opportunity. Obviously, I'm really excited to talk about ethics in general and ethics specific to OBGYN context in the pregnant body, and also the non-pregnant body, although, as a maternal fetal medicine, that's who I see on my day job, which so I'm sorry I was a little late. So each a week, there'll be a topic, and the framework for the week is going to be sort of a general question about a clinical scenario and anonymous response from the audience. I do this when we're giving the ethics grand rounds, and what I think is helpful is that with the anonymous response, people can tell their truth without feeling like they are being judged for it, because this can be sometimes high emotions. And we look for what I would consider like the sphere of reasonable. And then those should be ready. Those are going to be available at the beginning of the course. So if you wanted to go through and do all of the quizzes ahead of time, they're not really quizzes, but the polls. And then on the Wednesday, we would reveal those results to the group and give people a chance to reflect on what their position was on the answer, which there is no answer to these questions, but what is the scope of reasonable? And there are lectures that are about 45 minutes that would be online, that you can, go through the topic. Usually the format is we start with the clinical case, and we will try and make sure that we are limiting our medical jargon and of our aesthetic gynecologic jargon, and really get to, okay, here is the issue that we were faced with. And then we break it down into, here's where the ethical conflict is, and here's the literature on how that may or may not be resolved. And then there's progressive disclosure of the case. These cases are de-identified in such a way that they're more broad, so that we're not violating any patient privacy or anything like that. And then at the end of the week, and there's also additional, if you really into a topic, I have tons of readings on different things, and I'm also happy to reply to emails or, grab a phone call or whatever. I am, again, a full-time clinician, so my availability is a little bit hit and miss, but I really enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. And then at the end of the week, my hope would be that everybody would do a short reflection piece on sort of how the discussion, how seeing the responses from their classmates or colleagues, how has that changed or not changed and reinforced sort of your views around whatever the topic is. So that is what I have proposed for the course, and I'm happy to answer any other questions in the question forum.
I just want to take a quick second and say, I hope everybody on the Zoom was able not only to hear about the exciting topics, but really the excitement in the instructors' voices, the level of depth and expertise, and also the willingness to engage students from a variety of perspectives, in some cases, even explicitly talking about tailoring the course, right, to those perspectives, trying to make the material as applicable as possible to a range of different occupations, etc. I think that's a huge strength of the program. I'm the most biased among us, right? I direct the program, but it's unique to have faculty who are willing to really engage at that depth and that level with students. And so I hope as students or potential students are thinking about the course, you were able to really feel that enthusiasm from the instructors. I'm going to pass it to Lori Monroe, which if you have had any involvement at all with the certificate program, she is the heart and soul of this whole operation. So she's going to walk us through what it takes to actually take a course or more than a course with the graduate certificate program in bioethics and health humanities.
Thanks, Christine. I'd like to take a moment to summarize our fall schedule. One of the best parts, I think, of this program is its flexibility for working professionals. This fall, as you can see, we're offering 11 classes throughout the semester. So you can take a class that starts in August, September, October, even November. This program is built on 1 credit and 2 credit course options, which allows students to take multiple classes during the semester in information bites that focus on their interests. For fall, we have 9 1 credit courses and 2 2 credit courses. We offer flexibility in the way you want to learn also. If you enjoy in-person classes, we have 4 classes that are in person for this fall. If you like scheduled meeting time but prefer online, we have 3 classes that are synchronous online. If you prefer not having a weekly scheduled meeting each week, we have 4 classes that are in the offered asynchronous online. So the beauty of this program is that you can select these courses to fit your busy schedules. And we welcome you to take 1, 2, or complete the whole certificate program of 12 credits. Now, while our program is flexible, we operate it within the CU Anschutz Graduate School. So there are some dates we are required to follow. So let's take a look at this fall application timeline. The main concern, the big date, is June 29th, the application deadline. Even though we have a class that starts in November, if you're interested in taking a fall class, we need you to submit an application to the graduate school by June 29th. Here's some other online dates that you should be aware of for fall. The course enrollment for fall classes begins July 6th. If you're a CU employee, you're probably going to be using your tuition assistance benefit, and that application opens up August 1st. And then September 11th is our add drop deadline, so any courses have to be added by that date. So next slide, please. So if you're just thinking even about taking one of our classes, I really recommend just submit the application, and do it by the deadline of June 29th. Because this is the open house for the program, your graduate application fee is totally waived. So It's $50. That's something. That's pretty good, I think. And once you've matriculated into the graduate school, you'll be all set to register for a fall class, or if fall doesn't work out for you, you can defer till spring, which is great. And later this week, I'll be following up with you with an email on all the enrollment process and how that works. And it looks like, oh, someone got intrigued by one of our summer courses. And no, unfortunately, the graduate school is really firm on their application deadlines. So we can't get you in for summer. So I'm sorry on that. But I'm here to help. I want to make this as easy a process to get in as possible. So if you ever encounter any questions on the enrollment process or the program, please reach out. Thanks so much.
So we now have a session of time dedicated to a few breakout rooms. There are 3 potential options for students to join. You'll see the clinical ethics room. So that was all of those courses describing clinical ethics case consultation and similar faculty who already discussed those topics, as well as some other faculty who are part of the program but are not teaching necessarily in the fall will be joining that clinical ethics room. You can see the lineup. Similarly, a public health, history, ethics, and the law room, including Matt Winia, who spoke, Kate Lemasters, who spoke, and some other program instructors and faculty folks. And then finally, last but certainly not least, the Health, Humanities, and Arts room. Students can self-assign into the rooms. If you end up wanting to switch rooms to ask instructors questions, you should be able to do that on your own. Rosa and I believe Lori will remain in the main room in case people pop out and have a question. We will stay in those rooms for a period of time. And if you feel done with the session at the end of the room, you're welcome to leave. If you don't, you can pop back to the main room and we will kind of commence the program here, answering any final questions folks have. But after the breakout rooms, there's no formal additional programming. So take the time to learn more about the faculty and the courses and to get those questions answered either from the specific instructors or back from the program in the main room. And again, thank you so much for your attendance. In case I don't see you again, we will be reaching back out to folks who have come or even those who just registered, again, with the information from this session to make sure you have all your questions answered. We really appreciate your attendance, enthusiasm, and willingness to engage in a topic like bioethics and the health humanities. Rosa, correct me if I'm wrong. Are the instructors assigned to rooms?
No, instructors will have to select the rooms.
Okay,
So
instructors, you see your lineup. And please attend the correct room. Students, potential students, please pick your poison and join the room that best suits your interests. So Rosa should give us the breakout room screen.
have you gotten the breakout rooms?